In recent years, there has been a lot of discussion about the African Union and its initiatives to provide cooperative leadership for the African continent. The African Union plays a crucial role in connecting the countries of Africa. This video briefly explores the journey of the African Union as the Continental Integration Organization. The African Union, as we know it today, was established in 2002. However, it took various purposeful steps to get here. The early stages go as far back as 1963, when the Organization of African Unity was established.
For today, we must each see ourselves as part of Africa, for unity must be the keynote of our actions.
The OAU focused on securing independence and had additional objectives, such as promoting unity and solidarity of African states, intensifying cooperation to achieve a better life for Africans, defending the sovereignty and territorial integrity of newly independent states, and promoting international cooperation, and upholding human rights. As circumstances on the continent changed, the drive to transform the Continental Organization strengthened. In 1999, the Sirte Summit held in Libya adopted the Sirte Declaration, which called for the establishment of the African Union. This was followed by the Lomé Summit in 2000, which adopted the Constitutive Act of the African Union, the founding agreement of the African Union. Finally, the African Union was launched officially in 2002 in Durban, South Africa.
We have convened at this stadium in Durban in the South African province of KwaZulu-Natal as we agreed to establish the African Union.
The African Union is an intergovernmental organization consisting of a membership of 55 African states. The African Union is guided by a vision of an integrated, prosperous, and peaceful Africa, driven by its citizens and representing a dynamic force in the global arena. The guiding principles of the AU include equality and interdependence of states, respect of borders, and the participation of Africans in the activities of the Union. Other reinforcing principles include having a common defense policy, peaceful resolution of conflict, prohibition of the use of force, non-interference by any member state in the internal affairs of another, and rejection of unconstitutional changes in government. Equally important are other AU principles on the promotion of self-reliance, gender equality, democratic principles, human rights, good governance, and social justice to ensure balanced economic development. The objectives of the AU are more extensive in comparison to those of the OAU. These objectives range from achieving greater unity and solidarity between African states, defending sovereignty, promoting peace and security, to establishing democratic institutions, good governance, and human rights on the continent. Furthermore, AU goals include enhancing Africa's developmental trajectory by advancing political and socio-economic integration, promoting research in all fields, eradicating preventable diseases, and promoting good health. It is anticipated that the achievement of these goals will advance sustainable development and position Africa as a global actor. To enable it to meet its objectives, the African Union has set up an operating structure comprised of key decision and policy-making organs. These organs are the Assembly of Heads of States and Governments, the Executive Council, the Pan-African Parliament, the African Court of Justice and Human Rights, the African Union Commission, the Permanent Representative Committee, the Specialized Technical Committee, the Economic, Social and Cultural Council, and financial institutions like the African Central Bank, the African Investment Bank, and the African Monetary Fund. This is quite a number of organs, right? Let's break it down slowly and zoom in on each one. The Assembly is the highest decision-making organ of the AU, made up of all heads of states from all member states. It is led by a chair who is elected by member states yearly. The Assembly has the power to determine the common policies of the Union, establish priorities, adopt annual programs, and monitor the implementation of its policies and decisions by member states. Assembly decisions are achieved by consensus, or by a 2/3 majority if there is no consensus. The Executive Council is the second highest decision-making organ, comprising ministers of foreign affairs, and it supports and reports to the Assembly. It has the primary function of coordinating and taking decisions on policy areas of common interest to member states. Furthermore, it deliberates on issues referred to it and monitors implementation of Assembly policies. Similar to the Assembly, decisions in the Council are achieved by consensus, or by a 2/3 majority if consensus is not possible. African Union Commission is considered the engine of the AU. It is headed by a chair who oversees all the 6 departments of the AU, which include 1. Agriculture, rural development, blue economy, and sustainable environment. 2. Economic development, trade, industry, and mining. 3. Education, science, technology, and innovation. 4. Infrastructure and energy. 5. Political affairs, peace and security. And 6. Health, humanitarian affairs, and social development. These departments are headed by commissioners appointed by the Assembly. The Pan-African Parliament was established to ensure the participation of the people in the economic development and integration of the continent. Here's an interesting fact. Although it is called a parliament, the Pan-African Parliament does not have legislative powers. It only has a consultative and advisory role. Steps have been taken, however, to provide the Pan-African Parliament with legislative powers through a protocol that is yet to be sufficiently ratified. The Parliament is composed of 5 members per member state that has ratified the protocol establishing it, including at least 2 women per member state. Members of the Pan-African Parliament are elected by their national parliament. With regard to judicial organs, the African Court on Human and People's Rights, which was established under the OAU dispensation, that is, prior to the AU, is active. However, the AU plans to operationalize a more comprehensive judicial organ by way of the African Court of Justice and Human Rights. The Permanent Representatives Committee is a committee comprising all AU member states which conducts the day-to-day business of the Union on behalf of the Assembly and the Executive Council. It reports to the Council, prepares the Council's work, and acts on instructions from the Council. AU has established a forum for African civil society to actively participate and contribute to the policies and programs of the AU. This organ is known as the Economic, Social and Cultural Council. It is an advisory organ composed of different social and professional groups of the AU member states. There we have it, the AU in a nutshell. We hope this overview has given you a clear introduction to the African Union.